to protect daughter. Her parents imprison her in a machine less than 10 square meters. Even when delivering supplies to her every day, they will all stay far away. No contact allowed, because the daughter has been suffering from chi deficiency since childhood. Can only breathe the filtered air from the evolution chamber. I thought I would spend my whole life in this big coffin. I didn't expect an accident, but it came. This day, the purification chamber inexplicably lights up. What's even more terrifying is that they discovered through the glass that a sun yellow airflow was pouring out of the street, and these airflow are all discharged from the city's sewer system. Accidentally inhaled, I'll fall to the ground and cannot rise. The father on the street looked bewildered. I didn't wait for him to take the steps, just see a larger airflow coming towards here. Just a stunned effort. I'm about to personally attack in front of you. The street instantly turned into a mess. The man also ran desperately towards home. After rushing home, he quickly pulled away his wife by the window. Next second, the poison gas instantly blurred the window, and they're still everywhere, directly seeped into the house through the cracks, under the protection of the daughter's evolution pod. After the man sets it to power-saving mode, I quickly pulled my wife and left, watching the toxic gas rushing upstairs. They can only run towards higher floors. Last, the couple arrived at the top floor. This house is inhabited by a kind old couple. Not difficult, just let them in. The mother quickly took out the intercom to search for her daughter's situation. Knowing that there is no hindsight, that's when I breathed a sigh of relief. Subsequently, a few people came to the balcony, watching the terrifying scene underfoot. They can't speak, but this is not the most terrifying yet. Next, the man climbed onto the roof. Look ahead. I saw the entire city shrouded in toxins. Seems like a fairyland on Earth, but there are hidden murders inside, and the toxic fog caused a power outage throughout the city. The girl is in the evolution pod, although it's not a big deal, but the amount of battery power used cannot sustain tonight at all. So the man prepared to hold his breath and go downstairs to replace the battery for his daughter. After she arrived at the hallway, tentatively stirring up a wisp of smoke. Although the thin body is colorless and tasteless, but it is indeed toxic and the battery needs to be replaced. It takes more than 10 minutes to go back and forth. One person can't hold it for so long. At this point, the man suddenly thought of a wealthy man downstairs. Always keep oxygen bottles at home. For the safety of my daughter, she decided to venture down the water pipe. Just as we were about to enter the toxic mist, the man took a breath. Subsequently, he's holding his breath. It wasn't long before we arrived at the target lock. After breaking the window on the floor, he successfully entered the master's house. Just about to search, just saw a person lying on the ground. The man quickly stepped forward, discovered that it was the neighbor's uncle, but it's no longer breathing. Man, don't have time to hurt, because I can't hold on anymore. And even worse, the oxygen bottle that the master carries with him on weekdays. At this moment, it was not nearby. The man panicked, quickly take out a flashlight and search around, but back and forth. I searched through the house. I didn't find it either. Just as the man was about to suffocate, finally found an oxygen cylinder in a corner, and then he didn't dare to delay. Hastily put on an oxygen mask, then quickly unscrew the valve again. Finally sucked in oxygen at the last moment, slowed down and entered the rear. He packed the extra oxygen bottle, just about to leave, but suddenly I heard a sound coming from the bedroom. Driven by curiosity, the man raised his hammer high and opened the door. That's when I realized it turned out to be a little dog. Strangely enough, not only is the puppy okay, are you particularly excited about animals being immune to toxic gases, but the scene I saw soon denied it. This inference, because the mother dog in the room died. Although puzzled, but men don't have time to think too much. Then he came home, successfully replaced the backup battery for my daughter. I also brought some daily necessities with me, in order to find more battery backup. Subsequently, he came downstairs again. I saw corpses scattered all over the silent street, watching them foaming at the mouth, to die in a tragic state. The man unconsciously tightened his oxygen mask. Subsequently, she got under the car, collected a lot of backup batteries, just as the man was about to leave. But suddenly I heard a whistle. She walked over curiously. I saw a huge team passing through here. The man approached to inquire. I just found out. Turns out they were sent by the military to the surviving masses. Now the entire city has fallen. After the upper echelons decided to conduct a search and rescue, they implemented a lockdown on the city. Speaking room, Captain, look at the rudimentary oxygen bottles that men carry. I took out a pure oxygen cylinder and replaced it for him. Then he called on the man to hurry up and keep up with the army. But man can leave, because his family is still here. Captain, helpless, but I can't only turn around and leave. At this point, but the man stopped the captain again, requesting another set of oxygen equipment, and even told him about his daughter's illness. Although the equipment is extremely expensive, but in the end, the captain still gave him another set. After not returning, a man's frightened discovery. The height of the toxic gas is still gradually increasing. Stay here and you'll be poisoned sooner or later. They must escape with their daughter, and the daughter can only come out by wearing a spacesuit. The spacesuit is located far away in the laboratory in the city center, but at this moment, the couple's hearts are burning, decided to take the risk of finding the space palace. I learned that my parents are going to the city center. My daughter asked them to visit her friends. My friend is just like him, also suffering from hypoxemia, and my parents are still away from home all year round. For the daughter's request, they decisively refused, because in this situation, everyone is in danger. They have no obligation to help other people's children. The couple are helpless, but in the end, I promised my daughter to stop by and take a look. Strangely enough, after they arrived at the boy's house, found no one inside the patient, as oxygen is about to bottom out. Neither of them has time to think much. Next, they quickly arrived at the laboratory and successfully found the spacesuit. Afterwards, holding the box, the two are about to leave. Unexpectedly, the laboratory exploded. Fortunately, it didn't take long. They woke up and came over, but the man suddenly fell out of breath. Only then did I realize that the oxygen pipe was broken. Currently, there is only one oxygen cylinder. The couple can only use it alternately back and forth, and carrying a heavy spacesuit, they walk and stop all the way. I don't know how long it took, just reached the farthest point. What makes the matter worse is that this oxygen bottle is about to reach its peak. If this continues, both of them will die here. So the man decided to let his wife go back first. I will find a way to go home later on. Wife is extremely reluctant to part, because she knew she didn't have an oxygen cylinder. Husband is close to death, but when I think of my daughter at home, she still held back her tears and left. But I never thought that this farewell would be forever. To save oxygen, wife running wildly in the lane, but unexpectedly, the oxygen still didn't hold up enough. She rushed home. Time urgent. She quickly removed the oxygen bottle. Then he died and breathed again, struggling the box towards the top floor. Fortunately, I managed to come back in time. I never thought about it. The next scene he saw made him suffocate even more than in the gas. I saw a big hole in the spacesuit burned by the explosion just now. Easy for half a day. It's just a matter of drawing water from a bamboo basket. Women are extremely desperate. On the other side, the man is still rushing home along the roof. But on a rooftop, I saw a dead person this long. A blood stain was clearly killed by someone. The man glanced at it. Blood stains courageously walked inward. There are indeed traces of people living inside, except for supplies. Unexpectedly, there are also oxygen cylinders. He looked at it again, after confirming that there is no one nearby. Then directly prepared the oxygen cylinder backer to use it to go back. But I haven't waited for him to leave the door yet. A man in police uniform walked in and warned him to put down the oxygen cylinder. But one word revealed that this oxygen cylinder was not his at all. But this police officer grabbed it with a weapon in his hand and brutally killed him for this. See, being exposed, the police also decided to install their right hand, slowly touching towards the matching gun. Unexpectedly, this scene was taken seriously by a man who was already on guard. He put on an oxygen mask, just pushed the police out of the poison. Then the two of them struggled together. At this point, the pistol accidentally fell to the ground. The police want to get a gun, but he was tightly held by a man from behind. Without the protection of an oxygen mask, less than 3 seconds, he just received a box of hair. Men have no joy in their hearts. Don't be ruthless yourself. That's him lying down. After he stood up, hurried towards home quickly. The wife was waiting for him to come home here, but suddenly discovered that the batteries in the daughter's evolution pod were about to run out. Husband not at home. She lost her mind in an instant, but after a while, delayed return of husband, she decided to take the risk of changing the battery for her daughter. Watching the toxic gas in the corridor, the woman took a deep breath, and without hesitation, he infiltrated the gas. He runs very fast, but it's not as fast as the poisonous gas that enters without holes. See your mother down, not wearing an oxygen mask. My daughter is extremely anxious in the purification cabin, but my mother didn't have time to explain to him. Quickly replaced the backup battery for the purification cabin. Watching the instrument light up, that's how he feels relieved. But when we finally left, but the woman seems to have a premonition of something. I'm not in a hurry to go upstairs, starting to gaze deeply at my precious daughter. Finally, under the constant urging of my daughter, mother is not willing to leave now. I don't know how long it took. The man finally arrived, but looking at the scene in front of me, but he was stunned. Unbelievable. Slowly approaching, but as the distance gets closer, the man was already filled with tears under the heavy oxygen light. Looking at me lying in the hallway, a wife who has already lost her breath. He can't hold his tension anymore. However, the deceased is already alive. Must be strong. Unexpectedly, I haven't waited for the man to perk up yet. My daughter's voice came from the intercom. Men know they can hide it. I also understand that this kind of thing must be done by myself. But the words come to my lips, but he couldn't speak up for a long time because he doesn't want to admit that his wife has left. Last, the man walked to the balcony. I just told you the news of my death. After listening, my daughter curled up silently in the corner. Delayed silence. He felt like a burden for the first time. Not long ago, a slight earthquake suddenly occurred at home. Originally, it was just a slowly rising toxic gas. At this point, it starts to rise significantly. This place is about to fall completely. The man decided to go out again and try his luck. Can you find some more protective clothing for the two elderly people? The old man smiled and shook his head because their lifespan is already limited, not willing to waste resources belonging to young people anymore. Finally, she took the hand of her dementia partner. Do you vomit when you leisurely get on the road? May reside with you and me, so he's more comfortable and quit. Help relieve fatigue and vomit to death, but I'll order something for you. I have more methods than you do. Here, The man was lucky enough to find a piece for his daughter in a truck, the highest level of protective clothing, due to concerns about being too slow to rush back, brewing into a big fire again. He found an electric donkey on the roadside and drove back. However, the visibility in the toxic gas is extremely low. Plus, the man drives very fast. Next second, a little boy suddenly popped out. Man can dodge. The body is directly thrown away. Unexpectedly, my head hit the iron bucket, and he passed out directly. I don't know how long it took after waking up. He limped with his walkie-talkie and shouted to his daughter all the way, but the daughter across from me didn't make a sound. I thought my daughter might have died tragically at home. A man's legs are weak, can't take half a step forward anymore. He leaned against the car in despair, prepared to silently wait for death. But suddenly I realized that two people seemed to be walking in the white mist. A man stood up incredulously. In the next scene, she seemed like she was screaming. I saw my daughter running over alive and kicking, so the little friend she was looking for before. The evolution pod at home has already run out of electricity. I never thought about it, but unexpectedly discovered their symptoms, immune to toxic gases. The man was overjoyed after listening. Next second possible, but she opened her oxygen mask. But then, amidst the bewilderment on her daughter's face, the man kissed his daughter's cheek for the first time. The last thing that's funny is, wait for him to wake up again, but he found out that he and his daughter had exchanged identities. This time, the person lying in the evolution pod was replaced by himself, and the daughter